Town Council meets tonight. We get a preview of tonight's meeting with Town Council President Dr. Deborah Dagwan on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Thursday, November 7th, 2013. I'm Sarah Mantle.
So starting off with old business, $500,000 community preservation funds. What's this all about?
That basically has to do with we have some parcel of land that Community Preservation Fund is using for open space and recreation, and authorizing acquisition of interest in land off of Long Beach Road, identified as map 185, but it's actually a piece of real estate that's on the south side of Long Beach Road to Nantucket Sound. And basically known in part as Cross Street. And so it's being put forth to acquire, as I said, some to be utilized for open space and recreation.
Exactly, and that's kind of that grassy area across from the town parking lots. A lot of people use it to get back and forth from Long Beach in the summertime and even this time of year. So definitely looking for the town to acquire that, so there's no more confusion as to whether people have the right to walk over that or not.
Absolutely. And then we have item 2014-031, allocation of tax levy FY14 tax factor, and that is the town council will vote to classify the town of Barnstable under the Classification Act as a factor of 1, and for the fiscal year 2014. These tax levies is a shifting tool. They allow the town to shift portions of the tax levy between classes of property, and the council is allowed to create separate tax rates, one for residential property owners and a separate one for commercial, industrial, and personal property owners under this particular one. And under a residential factor of 1, all property owners would pay taxes at the same rate per $100,000 of valuation. So we do this every year.
Exactly.
And
and for the past several years, the council has voted as for that factor of 1, not for the split tax rate. So we'll see what happens, but certainly it's an important thing. A couple of other tax levy votes, public hearings taking place this evening as well.
Yes, we have the tax levy FY14 residential exemption, which will be up for a roll call vote as well, and the town council can choose to adopt a residential exemption. The maximum exemption allowed is 20% of the average access value of all Class 1 or residential parcels. It must be a principal resident of the taxpayer to take advantage of this exemption. And the town council has voted to adopt a 20% residential exemption for the past 8 years. So I assume we're going to stick with that. But
exactly.
We have some new people, we never know.
Indeed, we'll hope so. And then the final one is the small commercial one, and this one, from what I recall, has not ever been passed by council.
No, it hasn't. The small commercial one, the town council has the option of granting up to a 10% exemption to the owners of commercial property, which is occupied by qualified small businesses. This option, or the property taxes between commercial and industrial properties owners, is who it applies to. And as before, in this prior 7 years, the town council voted not to adopt the small business exemption. So I'm assuming we're probably going to go right down that line again. It seems to be working at this point.
Exactly. And then the next one has to do with the schedule of fees. And this one is more pertaining to like the restaurant and bar licensing fees, those sort of things, correct?
Yes. Item 2013-034 is an ordinance amendment setting the schedule of fees to be in effect in the town of Barnstable. And these are fees for miscellaneous licenses and permits. that were not identifiable because they were first printed in the format of a code. So now, when people read it, they can really know what the license is for. However, none of these fees listed have been changed, or there are no new ones that we will be proposing.
Exactly.
So they're old ones, and with the new clerk, we had to.
So moving on to
that understand.
Absolutely. Moving on to new business. First item under new business is an extended contract for our town manager.
Yes. Various changes to the town manager's contract will be discussed and approved by the current city members of the town council. As you know, this council recently completed a performance evaluation in July of Mr. Lynch. Mr. Lynch's leadership, his management, and personal skills in his role as town manager. So it will be up to this council body to vote affirmatively or not on any of the changes to be current contract with the town manager. And I had on the last process and evaluation format for the town manager was for the town council president and the town manager to sit down and talk about the results of his evaluation. Mm-hmm. And at that time, which was in July, I proposed to him or asked him about, what he thought about his future in the town, if it's something he'd want to continue. And at that time, he didn't really respond back to me. He said he had to think about that. But I think he is interested, and I think it's very important that the councilors who have had the opportunity to work with him should be the ones that would consider that at this time. So I asked our review committee to come together and look at the town manager's contract and get some ideas as to what we would propose or consider. So it'll be interesting to see how the council responds to this.
It certainly will.
And the public.
Indeed, absolutely. So that should be exciting on the agenda. And then a couple more things, some grants and some reappointments and appointments to board committees and commissions. Take me through the rest of the agenda for tonight.
Yes, item 2014-036. We have an acceptance of a $9,964 grant from the Executive Office of Public Safety and Security. This grant will be used by Chief of Police to assign officers to periodically do sting operations or controlled activities of young partygoers and those underage drinkers trying to obtain alcohol at liquor stores and other establishments where alcohol is sold in and around the Hyannis area. I see this as being used for preventative measures.
Absolutely.
To save for the safety of the public and for our underage drinkers.
Town Council meets tonight in the Town Hall hearing room at 7. This will be the last council meeting for several councilors who will either be retiring or were defeated in Tuesday's election. Tonight is the last night on the dais for Tom Rugo, Mike Hersey, James Cote, Janet Jochum, Jan Barton, and June Daly. We thank our councilors for their service and wish them luck in the future. 6 new councilors will take their place on the dais at the November 21st meeting. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Mannel.